Okay, we are back for our second session for the 2023 January to April mini catalog launch party. And this section or segment I'm calling Meet the Suite. And we've done this before, you guys, where we dive a little bit deeper into a suite of products. And I have lots of samples to share with these two suites. So the first one is called Country Floral Lane. And we touched briefly on this in the catalog stroll. So we are looking back to page 8 and all these sweet and pretty little samples. This is a fabulous suite for Valentine's Day. But what I love about this is with the color combinations and the images that are used, it goes well beyond Valentine's Day into other projects like spring, birthday cards, just love cards, encouragement cards. There's lots that you can do with the paper and the stamps and punch beyond just Valentine's Day. So if you'll remember on that next page, it does show you a bigger image of the stamp set, few more samples. So let's go ahead and take a look at this suite of product. So let's start because this is a really fun suite with lots going on. So we'll start first with the stamp punch bundle. And this is a really cute photopolymer stamp set. And it also has the coordinating punch. So you get the hearts and the little leaves. And it does line up. There's a designer series paper. Let me find it right quick. I have a strip over on my other table. But it actually lines up with the punch, but also with the strip of designer series paper. And you get lots and lots of hearts and leaves on that paper when you punch that. So I always love when it not only lines up and coordinates with the stamps, but also with the designer series paper. It just gives you more and more options. There's some super cute sentiments with this stamp set as well. Then let's move over to the ribbon combo pack. So you've got this like a linen ribbon, and it's got stitching on both sides, really pretty, almost like a crumb cake color, and then real red. And this bolt I haven't opened just yet, but it's a nice, soft, real red ribbon, and it's easy to work with. Just a really pretty combo pack of ribbon. There's 5 yards on both of those bolts. So in the combo pack, 10 yards total. Now this suite has some really fun embellishments as well. This is just kind of a sampling of the embellishments because you get either 2 or 3 sheets in a package. I've cut these apart because this is actually the embellishment we're using with our make and takes today as well. So this is just what I have left in my package of embellishments. So these are fun gold, pink, and blue sequins. They're adhesive back, so you don't have to worry about adding glue. You just pop them on your projects and get a little shimmer and shine. I'm sure you can see that on the camera, how pretty and sparkly those are. And then we've got 2 designer series papers. We talked about this just a little bit. There's a 12 by 12 Country Floral Lane. This is a really sweet pattern of paper. And again, you can see that this paper will go beyond Valentine's Day with lots of different projects that you can do. It's just really fun. And the color combo with the blue and sweet sorbet and petal pink, so fun. All right, let me move this. Oh, let me show you the country gingham paper as well. It's really cute. I think I'm going to hold that down. That will be easier to flip through these. In the swatch book, when it's 6 by 6, it's not kind of offset, so it's a little bit harder to flip through, but not a big deal. Really cute paper. You've seen that too, as you've seen samples. And I think that in this package you get, I think you get 6. I could be wrong. It could be 8 sheets of each of those designs. So it's really great when you're making multiples of projects. Let's look at some samples next, because I have a lot for this suite. So here is just a little note card that I made. I love our note cards and envelopes. You get 20 in a package for $7 or $7.50. They are able to be put through the USPS, and they come already scored It's a nice, thick, basic white cardstock. Envelopes are a great quality. You can stamp on them as well. So this is just punching out the hearts from the designer series paper and stamping a quick sentiment, and easy peasy. And then this one as well is just a quick and cute note card. And here I went ahead and used the art from the designer series paper and tucked a couple of leaves underneath. So lots of fun. Let me see if I can bring my stamp set back. And I did a little stamp surgery. My stamp set is kind of a hot mess, y'all. So, well, my heart is, they have seemed to fly around in this case. Anyway, my heart's here. So when you place your photopolymer stamps down and you just let them rest and get back to like their usual spacing, you can actually, these two are connected. I did stamp surgery and I cut those two hearts apart because I wanted to make this card. Oops, sorry. I wanted to make this card and I wanted to stamp just this heart, and I didn't want to mess with masking it off or anything. So I did stamp surgery and cut it apart. So this is just a quick little fun fold. Use that linen ribbon. Thought that turned out cute. Here is one, my friend Kay Cogbill. She was a presenter for this suite at On Stage, and this was one of her swaps, and I thought that was super, super cute. Great idea. So thanks, Kay. I didn't take swaps, so that was really a gift from her. Here's a swap made with that suite. This paper is adorable, you guys. I love it so much. Really cute embellishments as well. Here is a quick and cute little card. I think this is one I created. Maybe even on Facebook Live. Another one from the swap. And you can see, just adorable. Such cute cards. I love the colors. This was my swap that I sent in for the demonstrator card swap, and I thought it turned out really cute. Sweet and simple. I love that sentiment. I love using the red with the Coastal Cabana. That just makes me happy. So I told you I had lots of samples to share. This is one we made on Facebook Live with 2 patterns of designer series paper. Just a little ribbon and a quick sentiment. And then a heart that I stamped. So easy, but fun. Here is another Valentine. Using that cute layout with the designer series papers. I love that gingham. And then this one as well. That same layout where we have the designer series papers. And we're able to use a couple different patterns. Really show off that paper. This is one that I know I've posted on my, and that bow is coming undone. I know that I have posted this on my Stamp with CT page because I got a lot of reactions. I don't know if I can retie that with my arthritic fingers as I'm making it. I just tore it up. Anyway, you get the idea. You know that it had a bow there when I posted it on my Facebook page. Got a lot of reactions about the color combo. And again, Coastal Cabana and Petal Pink and Real Red. And then you've also got Balmy Blue. So much fun, isn't it? And then one last sample. This is a card that I created when we were at the retreat, just playing around with this suite, and it's a fun fold. And I thought it turned out really cute as well. So this could definitely be a Valentine, but it doesn't have to be. I think that would make a sweet birthday card too, but I love this sentiment. It's just so sweet. Okay, let me move these samples of Country Floral Lane over to the side, and we're going to take a look at another suite. You'll get to meet another suite. Yeah, I told you I had lots of samples to share. And I do love this suite. Okay. So this next suite of products, this is the one, it's near and dear to my heart. I was so thrilled to be asked to present. And I'm not going to put this in camera because this shimmer paper, it is bright. I'll show it first, just a little section of it. This comes in 12 by 12 and you get 2 of each of the sheets, soft succulent gold and fresh freesia. So you can already see how gorgeous, and look at the shimmer. I know that's going to show up on camera. That was one thing when I was on stage and all the lights and you could just see the shine. Love it, love it. This is beautiful. And it's a thick, almost like cardstock. And then let's take a look at the ribbon next. It's a pool party grosgrain and very easy to work with. Now, what I did, there's 10 yards on this bolt. What I did was actually use my Stampin' Blends alcohol markers, and I made this little display piece. So what is easy to do with alcohol markers is color your ribbon. So this is in Pool Party. Here I colored it with Balmy Blue and then with Night of Navy. So it just gives it such a different look in the different colors of blue. It's so easy to do. You just set it on your silicone craft sheet, or like a piece of wax paper would work just fine as well, and brush very easily across with the side of your marker, and it picks that ink up and dries really quickly. And it's just a fun way to utilize your ribbon in a little bit different way. These embellishments, let me see if I can get the package open without making too much racket for you guys. I love iridescent, and I think that Stampin' Up! Knows that, y'all. And so I squealed with delight when I got these iridescent gems in my box. So you know we have iridescent rhinestones. Y'all have seen me use those a time or two, right? And then we have iridescent pearls, and now we have these iridescent gems. And I know, again, the sparkle and shine is showing on the camera. So pretty. And these are a very unique gem because they have color to them, but then they kind of pick up with what's around them as well. So very pretty gems. Let's take a look at the paper. This is a 6 by 6 paper stack, and we'll do it this way again. That seems to work better. And this is actually an artist at Stampin' Up! And I think, if I remember correctly, her name was Vanessa, but she actually used like splatters and watercolor and different techniques on canvas. And then that was photographed and turned into this fabulous designer series paper. So hand painted images, and it's beautiful. It has so many colors that are used in this paper. So you can pair it with so many different things. Isn't it just gorgeous? And of course, I made projects there at on stage, and then also had extra samples to share as well. So this is one of the stamp sets. It is the sentiment set. It's red rubber. And as I told you earlier, I'm storing the dies in here with this set. That's not what I normally do, but because of the way that it came from Stampin' Up!, I found this to be really helpful. So these are labels. They can also be used very easily as tags. It's a really good die set. Even just the die set alone would be well worth having in your stash. It's got a couple of little pieces that you can actually add accents to the tags. And there's one that kind of looks like a teardrop, and I'll show you how I use it. But this is just such a fabulous stamp set, all sentiments red rubber. And this does have a double stamp die bundle in this suite. So I like to call this a mega suite, and this one is just amazing. Then you have this other stamp set, two-tone floral, and it is photopolymer because you can stamp the different layers of the flowers. And again, I stored my dies in here with it. So you've got all of the floral images, the 2 different steps for those stamps. for those images, and it just makes some beautiful flowers. And you've got a die for each size of the flower and also for some leaves. But then look at this, you guys. You've got this awesome detailed background die. And I'll tell you that I was even able to cut the shimmer paper with this die. I did go forward and back and turn it and forward and back again a couple of times, but I was able to cut this easily with that shimmer paper. I've been able to cut it with cardstock just fine. It's a beautiful die. This is one that I like to share the tip that if you're having some trouble with little bits sticking in the die, run it through with wax paper. Do that a couple times. That kind of coats your die. And I'm telling you, these little pieces will drop out just easy as pie. It's an awesome, awesome tip for a more intricate die like that. You can use your die brush, but it is really easy to run it through with wax paper. So that's the stamp sets in this suite. Aren't they amazing? I was so tickled to be able to present projects with this suite of products. So let me share with you what I showed it on stage. Let me kind of get all my ducks in a row here because I thought I had it all ready to go. So a lot of times what we do is share something that is good for a beginner crafter, a casual crafter, and then an avid crafter. So I had those 3 levels of projects that I shared at on stage and did a little element of each one up on stage and actually demonstrated it. So this, I wanted to make it look kind of artsy, artistic, impressionistic. So I purposely, for the beginner stamper, I want them stamping. I want them getting that red rubber stamp and seeing what it does, and the photopolymer stamp and seeing how it works. I want that in their hands. So I purposely moved the leaves away just a little bit so a beginner stamper would feel confident in their stamping, and then put the beautiful sentiment. We justified the layer down to the bottom just so that they don't have to worry about getting that lined up perfectly and having an even border. But that's a fun technique for any level of stamper to do. And then I also stamped that same image on the envelope because our envelopes are great quality and we can stamp beautiful images on those as well. And you guys know we have a little motto of no naked envelopes in our group. So new stampers need to learn that motto right out of the gate, don't they? Now, the next thing is for a casual stamper. And what Stampin' Up! Tells us is a lot of times those stampers, they've been stamping for a little while. They're starting to build their collection, but, they may not have a lot of supplies just yet. They're really growing their collection and they want to have multiple uses for the products that they buy. So this was my idea for a casual stamper. And so although we could have cut the designer series paper and just put strips of designer series paper, I used the dies and thought that gave it a little bit more interest for our casual crafter to show off that designer series paper and use the dies in that way. And then we use the little accent die. And I know you probably can't tell really well the way the card is already put together, but use that little teardrop to cut and notch the designer series paper that we stamped the sentiment on to pull the ribbon through. So we can put knots or bows on our projects, but this is just one more way to add ribbon and just embellish our card a little bit. And then of course, a little strip of scrap designer series paper. We want to use up those consumable items. And so a little strip of scrap designer series paper on the envelope because no naked envelopes, right? And then my last project, and I don't know where here's the envelope. Start to say I don't know where it went, but my last project was for the avid crafter. And so, a lot of us are avid crafters. We have a lot of things in our craft room. We even have a craft room. And so we want it all. We want it fancy. We want to emboss. Both embossing, dry emboss, and heat embossing. And so here I featured the stamped embossed, heat embossed, but I'll bring that closer to the camera and I hope that it shows up. What I do is I stamp with my Stamparatus the Knight of Navy Then I went over that. I cleaned my stamp and I stamped with Versamark and used clear embossing powder. I heat set it. Then I add more clear embossing powder, heat set it again, more clear embossing powder, and heat set it again. And it really gives a 3D effect to the embossing on the sentiment. It just really adds something. And then this is that background die that I was telling you about. You can see that it's absolutely stunning. I think on that dark Night of Navy card base, it just looks so pretty. A couple of floral images, and then I use the embossing folder on the flap of the envelope. So no naked envelopes, but that was my avid crafter card that I shared. So our 3 levels of crafter. And then I have several other samples to share with you. I really do like using the note cards, and those are available, of course, in our annual catalog. So here's just a note card where I heat embossed with white embossing powder, one of the floral images, and just added a sentiment. Super simple because that designer series paper is just so gorgeous. And then made a coordinating treat bag, or this could even be used for a small gift like a piece of jewelry or something. And I shared this tip. If you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, that tissue is pool party and it coordinates really well with this suite. So hold on to the tissue that comes in your Paper Pumpkin and you can utilize it. That's what I put inside of this little treat holder. And these are available in the annual catalog. All right, let me show you some cards that I shared. This one, I cut the label out and then used one of the accent dies to cut the flower and leaves. Then I ran the accent die through with Evening Evergreen and Flirty Flamingo cardstock and took those pieces and inlaid them into the tag. So that's just a really cool effect. This is a super simple card, but I thought that really elevated it. This is a card that I created for the demo at Onstage, and it features that background die. I put it in my trimmer and just sliced it off where I needed it because, you know, it covers the full front of the card base, but I didn't need it that big. So I just sliced it off with my paper trimmer. If you have a good sharp blade, it cuts really well. Then I used some of the shimmer paper just as an accent and put a sentiment on. And so that was a card that I shared. And then when I did the swap, I made a little bit different version of the same card. I cut this down to where it's just half of that background die piece and put a little bit wider border of the gold shimmer paper. So just to give you a little different look. For me, sympathy cards are difficult. And so when I find something that works, I like to duplicate that and maybe put a little bit of a twist on them, but I thought that turned out really, really pretty. Here is one that I got an idea from in our team meetings. A lot of times we have demonstrations from the different people on our team, and my sweet friend Jan Miller taught us how to use blending brushes. I'm pretty sure it was Jan. Yes, I'm pretty sure. And so I was in the process of designing these projects, and what I did was cut the label from our masking paper, just put it on a piece of basic white cardstock, and I used my blending brush and just with Orchid Oasis added a little bit of color. Then I stamped the sentiment with Orchid Oasis. And I set up all of those floral images on my Stamparatus so that I could stamp them all at once. And then I could cut all of those floral images out at once because there's a die for each size flower. And I just had an envelope that I could pull floral images from. So it made it so quick and fun to create cards because I could just pop those on there. They were already done. This is a card that always is a wow, and it's a 4-fold card. I actually learned how to make this from another demonstrator, and we've done it in a class a time or two. The demonstrator I learned to make it from, it was really complicated instructions. I loved the look of this card, but Dale kind of helped me and redesign this and redid the math. So it folds out like this. It's one that gives you so many options to show off your designer series paper. This is a great fold if you have a card that you need a lot of people to sign, and you could actually even decorate the back if you wanted to, if you needed, that much real estate for people to sign, or if you intended for someone maybe to display it on their desk at work. I always thought it would be fun to make Tara a card like this to display on her desk. This would be nice even to have some pictures on it as well. So this is a 4-fold card, and it's always a wow. And these products just really look good with that, don't they? The last project that I shared, let me get this facing the right direction. When Tara and James got married, they had a non-traditional wedding in a park in downtown Houston. So when I got these products, it really made me think of her wedding day. It was such a perfect day. And I wanted to include a picture of her where she's putting her earrings in. Those were a gift from James. I wanted to include that picture. I knew right away this would be perfect for scrapbooking. So use the Fresh Freesia shimmer paper and then cut the designer series paper, just fussy cut. Now, because it's 6x6, I have a seam here, but covered that up with the little tags and just use designer series paper there. There's accent dies here. There's that background die that I cut in half and just really layered on all of the fun elements from this suite. I used some iridescent pearls as well as those iridescent gems and added some of the floral images as well. So I was so super happy with how this turned out. And I love that we can use our Stampin' Up! Products to help preserve our memories. So I hope you enjoyed meeting these two suites. I really am just so in love with these products. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to help you with that. Next up will be at 4 o'clock. I will have posted our scavenger hunt. So it's 20 questions, and they're not easy, you guys, but you have a chance to win a prize if you post your answers in the comments. So I hope you'll play along with us. That game is always fun. And then at 5 o'clock, I'll be here with you in a live video, and we will do our make and takes and finish up this virtual launch party. See you guys soon. Thank you.